Alright, looks like the stream is live. Thank you guys for joining me today. Today is September 9th, 2020. It is the day, 2 days after Labor Day in the United States. So, as per usual, this is the lunch live stream where I take a little bit of a break out of my day to eat some ridiculous food for lunch and hang out with you guys and talk about whatever topic happens to be at the top of my mind. So for today, I have got these delicious looking wild blueberry thumbprint cookies from the Schwartz Brothers Bakery. Oh my goodness. Schwartz Brothers Bakery in the Pacific Northwest. You can never go wrong with these guys. I think just about everything they have is really, really delicious. So once I'm able to actually get it open. Alright, there we go. Thumbprint cookies, of course. A nice buttery shortbread cookie with some kind of jam or preserve in the middle of it. Oh my goodness, they are so delicious. Oh yeah. Nice tender buttery cookie with a little bit of sweet berryness, sweet tart berryness in the center of it. Absolutely delicious. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys had a great 3-day weekend. I hope you're sitting down, you're relaxing, maybe you got something to drink, maybe you got something to eat, something to snack on, maybe you're just here to hang out and have a good time. Whatever it is, thank you guys for joining me today. I did take a long weekend. I did not do the usual stream on Monday because I was actually out in the mountains. I climbed a mountain with my father. I decided to take a long day with him. So I was thinking about it, like maybe I could do a live stream from the middle of the mountains, but it turned out that there was absolutely no cell phone coverage anywhere at all. We're completely disconnected from civilization for a couple of hours. So yeah, just wasn't able to get it in that day. So in case anybody missed me. Oh my gosh, the Schwartz Brothers, again, just knocking it out of the park. These things are so incredibly delicious. Man, and it has been like a very strange couple of days. Over the weekend, I follow the Tour de France, so I was very happy to see that the Tour de France is happening this year. It's always an exciting event, something that I always like to follow along with. And the news is that, like, even though the Tour de France is about, even though when you see a Tour de France, it's like they're usually just people crammed in, you know, the bike pelotons, everybody's crammed together, there's usually tons of spectators, a huge press junket, and everything along those lines. Like, I was happy to see that it does look like they're taking care of the riders. I saw some news that, so far there have been 0 riders that have tested positive for COVID-19, so I'm happy about that. The race director, in fact, is the only individual who appears to have tested positive for COVID-19 thus far in the Tour de France, stuff like that. And, of course, more to the point of competitive eating in general, I was happy to see that Major League Eating did their first eating contest this last weekend, so that was super exciting. It was a stacked crowd. I purposely avoided it because just the crowd that was going to be there, I knew that the best I could hope for was maybe like 4th or 5th place, so I decided not to show up for that one. And more eating contests on the horizon. Crazy. We're getting back into it, guys. I think that hopefully this like represents a little bit of normalcy, getting back to like a normal routine, a normal world. It's not so much normalcy. I mean, the contest had no spectators. It was all live streamed, but the production value was pretty great, and it was awesome to see Sam Barkley do his best to, I shouldn't say do his best, he knocked it out of the park. Sam Barkley is the guy who's, got a bit of an accent, who's goes and commentates and MCs some of those Major League Eating events, and he always does an awesome job. And just like you'd expect, he had incredible energy, getting people on the other side of the internet ramped up and excited for that eating contest. So if you haven't checked it out, you got to check out the Colorado State Fair World Slopper Eating Contest. You can find the video on Vimeo, in fact, or the Colorado State Fair website. So they've got links to it there. It's an hour long, so if you move forward to, I don't know, I think it's about 40 minutes. Yeah, about 40 minutes is where the eating actually starts. Joey Chestnut, you can see, I'm not going to watch this whole video, but you see Joey Chestnut was there, Jeff Esper was there, Gideon OG was there, Darren Breeden was there, and Nick Weary was also there. So yeah, like I said, just a stacked field. It was an incredible, incredible contest. Just looking at the results, I mean, so Darren Breeden last year set the world record for the slopper eating contest with 28 1/4 sloppers. And for folks that don't know, a slopper is like an open-faced cheeseburger with some chili sauce on top. Like I thought it was kind of like a sloppy Joe, but no, turns out it's a little bit different. So Darren Breeden last year set the record with 28 1/4. And this year, the results, Jeff Esper won with 37 1/2. Just friggin' knocked it out of the park. Joey Chestnut came in second with 32. Nick Weary came in third with 28 nope, just 28. Gideon OG came in fourth and Darren Breeden in fifth. And Big Sexy Beard came in sixth with 12. I don't know who Big Sexy Beard is, but you know, there he is. And then in last place, runner-up, I should say, Moose Perez. He's Moose Perez. He's such a cool guy. Like, if you ever get the chance to see him at an eating contest, you won't be able, like, you won't miss him. He's this big guy, Latin descent. He's always got like ridiculous huge glasses. He's a character. He's a cool guy. I see we got a couple of folks in the comments. B-Fizzle asks, would you consider doing a mukbang? No, I've talked about that in the past. Like, I don't really know what a mukbang actually is. So I know a lot of people like say that some of the videos that I do would be considered a mukbang video, but I like, the reason I don't dedicate myself to doing that kind of stuff is because it's the kind of thing that I can recognize when I see it, but I don't actually know what goes into making one. So, or I should say, I don't know what goes into making a good one. So, no, I would not consider doing that. You're saying as much food as you can eat, your channel would blow up if you did mukbangs. Maybe. I mean, there you go. Again, like, the stuff that I like to do are the contests, the challenges, stuff like that. So I'm focused on doing the best I can to eat as much food as I can. So hopefully, down the line, I can compete with people like Nick Weir and Darren Breeden, and you know, get third or fourth place or something like that at the Coney Island hot dog eating contest next year. Tuna Shogun says Steve does mukbang live streams all the time. I guess if you consider these things mukbangs, these are pretty small, pretty pitiful mukbang videos, but I did a live stream, one of these lunch live streams, where I actually talked about what exactly a mukbang is, like the origins of it, which is, unfortunately, like, it's the kind of thing that I find more fascinating and more interesting than actually watching a mukbang video, but there you go. But I do think that one big thing as a part of a mukbang video is the ASMR and the audio portion of it. And I've got just this weeny little $100 Yeti, Blue Yeti microphone. Does a decent job. I mean, you guys can probably hear that. Like, you can understand me nice and well. But anytime I do one of those voiceovers using this microphone, I do have to, like, open up the audio file in Audacity and set it and put it through a bunch of like virtual equalizers and equalization stuff like that to like get the audio quality up a little bit. So I think if I was going to do videos, that kind of mukbang style video, I would definitely have to invest in some higher quality audio equipment. So I don't know, like, obviously it's the kind of thing that would make my channel very popular. It's you're not the first person to mention that, but like I said, I just don't, I wouldn't know what I was doing. Like, I'd have to get some consultation from some of the mukbang experts out there, whoever they may be. Let's see here. AJ, thank you for joining the live stream. Says, hey, you're a free eater. No restraints with labels. Yeah, dude. I've been practicing this for 33 years, so. Tuna Shogun says a lot of mukbangs seem to be a lot of food, and they sit and chat with their audience for hours. Yeah, it is really more about the. I think food is definitely a part of it. Like, food is certainly an integral part of social connection. Basically, I think is a good way to put it. And a mukbang video really is about more about the social connection than it is about the competitive eating. But like I said, I do more food stunts than I do mukbang stuff. Mia, thank you for joining the stream. Says, hey there, how's it going? Good to see you. Tuna Shogun, it seems like ASMR is a new thing that some mukbangers use to increase their content. From the very small exposure to it, Tuna seems to see a difference in America versus Korean, quote-unquote, original mukbangs. Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, there is this kind of fascinating phenomenon that is more prominent in video games than it is in like video content, like YouTube, stuff like that, where pardon me, where it turns out when people see a like talk about the graphical quality of a video game versus the audio quality of a video game, most people assume that the graphical quality is more important, but it turns out that people are much more willing to put up with a game with mediocre graphics and incredible audio quality than they are willing to put up with a game with great graphics and mediocre audio quality. And it is kind of like a subconscious thing. It's not like people are playing a game like that and say, oh, this audio sucks, so I'm not going to play it. It's just that like audio happens to be kind of a black sheep. It doesn't get quite as much coverage as I think it deserves in video games and a lot of visual mediums like movies, stuff like that. And it does turn out that like a game or a movie or a YouTube video or something like that with really, really high quality and excellent audio, like people who watch that will say that the graphical quality actually is better, even though that may or may not be the case. So again, like I said, I've got this kind of like idea, like I realize that high quality audio is very important, very critical, but I just don't have the equipment, I don't have the setup to do it. I don't have the really great recording, a really great recording room or anything like that. So I know it's something that I would like to improve, everything along those lines, just to make viewing my videos a little bit of a better experience. And I think number one, that would probably start with getting something better than just these weeny little mid-level or entry-level recording microphones that I use. Well, I've been rambling on about this subject much longer than I was expecting to. As I think the thing that I didn't want to talk about today was actually Labor Day, what the heck it is. So, I don't know, maybe I should just keep on talking about mukbang culture, change the name of this live stream. I just think it is kind of funny that, we celebrate Labor Day. Pardon me. We celebrate Labor Day on I think it's the first Monday of every September, every year. And people do often have this little joke about how, well, it's kind of ironic that we celebrate Labor Day by taking a day off of work and everything like that. But it actually makes perfect sense if you look into the origins of Labor Day and stuff like that. So I'm going to eat some cookies and I'm going to read a little bit about Labor Day from History.com. This is the History Channel website. I am falling out of love of this website, though, because they keep on popping up ridiculous ads that, play video and have audio attached to them. It's like pop up in the middle of text. I really dislike it. But I guess I'm going to stick with it. So yeah, you can see the ads are already tweaking out a little bit. By the way, with advertising, I do not begrudge anybody for using an ad blocker when they watch my YouTube videos, because some of the ads that websites use nowadays are just obnoxious. It's so terrible. It's ridiculous. I've always made a point of trying to minimize the mid-roll ads and stuff like that in the middle of my videos, so that people can actually watch the videos instead of getting interrupted by ads. So I usually just stick to the side banner ads that are a little bit out of the way. But with some of these websites, I know that's a bit of a contentious issue, but for me personally, Yeah, I do not begrudge people for using ad blockers when watching my YouTube videos. I'm going to put that out there. YouTube might not want me to say that, but there you go. Let me see here. So Labor Day. Anyway, moving on. Labor Day pays tribute to the contributions and achievements of American workers, traditionally observed on the first Monday in September. It was created by the labor movement in the late 19th century. It became a federal holiday in 1894. Labor Day weekend also symbolizes the end of summer for many Americans and is celebrated with parties, street parades, and athletic events. I wish that there were more athletic events happening this Labor Day, but I gotta stick with my European events like the Tour de France, which has been bonkers this year. Oh my goodness. The last couple of days of the Tour de France has been absolutely insane. Any cyclists out there who've been watching it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, oh my gosh. So why do we celebrate Labor Day? I mean, the basic gist of this is that, like, before unionized labor, basically, was that, like, anybody who wanted to get a job, like, they were able to, employers and big corporations basically were able to really squeeze their workers and, like, get the bottom dollar. So basically every single worker was forced to work for, like, as little as the poorest person, as little as whomever was, like, accepting to work for the smallest amount of wages, basically. That's not a very good way of articulating it, but it was basically that large corporations, factory owners, the mustache-twirling people, rich people, were able to just squeeze every single penny out of workers. It was very unfair. So in the late 1800s, these things started to improve. Basically, the government stepped in and made a couple of regulations to make sure that to help protect workers. And in the early 20th century was when unionized labor started to pop up, and you could see labor unions would get together and have a little bit of bargaining power because everybody would be at the table at the same time and kind of come to an agreement, basically, to go on strikes, things along those lines. So, like, it is, a lot of people say it's ironic that we take a day off for Labor Day, but it makes perfect sense. Like, one of the things that unionized labor allowed was for workers to demand better pay, to demand better hours, and to demand time off, basically. So, having a national holiday where you're taking time off of work, like, it makes perfect sense for a day like Labor Day. So I do think that it is kind of cool that where the origins pop up from. Speaking of ridiculous ads, I've seen this one pop up every now and then. Fun, epic, memorable, get yours forever spin. A Canadian boutique top company, it looks like. It's awesome. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, in the 19th century, it was kind of like the Industrial Revolution for the United States. So it did make sense that that was the time in the history of the United States when organized labor unions and stuff like that became more important. It even says, as manufacturing increased, supplanted agriculture as the wellspring of American employment, labor unions, which had first appeared in the late 18th century, or even earlier than I thought, grew more prominent and vocal. They began organizing strikes and rallies to protest poor conditions and compel employers to renegotiate hours and pay. Many of these events turned violent during this period, including the infamous Haymarket riot of 1886, in which several Chicago policemen and workers were killed. Others gave rise to long-standing traditions. On September 5th, 1882, 10,000 workers took unpaid time off to march from City Hall to Union Square in New York City, holding the first Labor Day parade in U.S. history. The idea of a working man's holiday, celebrated on the first Monday of every September, caught on in industry centers across the country, and many states passed legislation recognizing it. Congress would not legalize the holiday until 12 years later, when a watershed moment in American labor history brought workers' rights squarely to the public's view. On May 11, 1894, employees of the Pullman Palace Car Company in Chicago went on strike to protest wage cuts and firing of union representatives. So yeah, I think that Labor Day, definitely a good thing. I think that unions are imperfect, but I think they're better than the alternative. That is for dang sure. Mm. Let's see here, catching up on some of the content, or some of the contents, some of the chat that's going on. AJ says, did you actually get a day off for Labor Day, Steve? Yeah, I mean, they told me not to work, so I got a day off. I did not get paid for that day, but I don't know, I'm a contract worker. I basically get paid for the work that I do. But my employer, not my employer, the company that I'm working for under the contract did tell me to take a day off. So like I mentioned, I spent the day up in the mountains with my father, so that was an excellent day, excellent day. Adrian says, I'm late. Better late than never, bud. Pardon me. Yeah, I think Tuna Shogun mentions JavaScript on websites to see if those pop-ups wouldn't get my face. Yeah, you're ridiculous. I think most of them are embedded in the website, especially in history.com, which unfortunately is like one of the main reasons that I do most of my reading and stuff. A lot of reading from just wikipedia.org, because like it's just straight information, and I like information, so that's one of the reasons I do that. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna got to get back to work at some point, so I got to do it sooner rather than later. So thank you, everybody, for joining me for today's lunch live stream. If you didn't catch it, I did publish a new video on my channel, just the regular old style recorded video that you can watch anytime on demand. So go ahead and check that one out if you want to. I saw there were a lot of pizza videos that have been popping up over the last couple of weeks, so I thought I'd throw my own pizza challenge in there into the mix. It was pretty cool to see Joey Chestnut out-eat something like 8 people on, I can't even remember what channel that was that he popped up on, but it was pretty hilarious to, see the goat do his thing. Where I think he ate something like a 9 or a 10-pound piece of pizza. It was pretty insane. All right, guys, I got no plans to take any more time off, at least this week. So I'll be back on Friday for another lunchtime live stream. Until then, peace out. I hope you guys have a good one. And eat some cookies, because they're delicious.